Hold on. Does that look more level?
The right side needs to go up. That looks better.
Are we orange?
I want the voice. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Singers do it.
We're not singing. I'm sorry.
Little toots.
I am gassy. What's up, YouTube? Oh, she's trying to get out now. Hey, get that. Wait, you have to join the family really quick.
There you go.
Look, get down, say hello. Look, it's like a family portrait of our child who hates me.
Oh, you gotta hold it right. Hey. Hey. Just chill.
She's just like, all right. Hey, can I hold you like that? Let me try.
The furthest thing away.
Is this how you do it? Alright, YouTube. So, this is my husband, Matt. We probably like 6 months ago made a video. It was a Q&A, like marriage couples version. And I got a lot of great feedback on that. And I've since then had a lot of people ask me to do another one. So, that's what we're doing today.
Ugh, I better get a drink too.
We are thirsty people.
Look at these cups. We don't
Look
live
at
babies cups.
We don't mess around. This is like a 40-ounce cup. I had a bunch of you guys snap me and Instagram me. Just a little like backstory. Matt and I have been married since September 2012. We met in like 2008, 2009. We met at our church. We started dating in like 2010, like middle to late 2010 sorta. And we've now been married for just over 3.5 years. Okay, we're just gonna hop right in with some questions from you guys. I think we answered this in our last video, but someone said, what is your pet peeve about him and what is his pet peeve about you?
What's my pet peeve about you?
Yeah, you have food on your face.
Okay. My pet peeve about you? Wait, there's not a one that really sticks out.
He knows that this is a trap.
This is, because as soon as the camera's off, you're like, knew it. I think sometimes a pet peeve of Lynette is she is such a planner and I'm not such a planner, so that can get on my nerves because I'm more of a fly by your seat kind of guy. See, as I'm making words up as I go. But that's the type of person I am. She has already rehearsed this, thought it through with every single answer. So that can get overcomplicated sometimes, I guess.
That's probably my biggest pet peeve of him is that he flies by the seat of his pants too much. Like, he doesn't plan a lot of stuff ahead at all, which sometimes means that like what he wanted to do does not work out. I get really annoyed because I'm like, dude, if you would have just like planned ahead, this wouldn't have happened. But we balance each other out. Like, I am like a crazy type A major planner, way too intricate type of person, and he's just like,
Type D.
chill. Is there a type D?
There is now.
My question would be, how do you personally keep the romance alive in your marriage? How do you include God in your marriage? My answer to how we keep romance alive in our marriage, we spend a lot of time alone together. We have Thursdays and Fridays off every week, and we never spend that time with anybody else. Like, I have friends who are thoroughly annoyed with me because they always want to do something on Thursday and Friday because it's like their only available day, and we are pretty selfish about those days because it's just really important to me to have that time every week where we know we're gonna have each other's undivided attention. Giving each other attention means that we're always kind of in tune to what the other person needs. And I think that that's part of what makes a relationship start to die, is that the people in the relationship's needs are not being met anymore. And so given that we're both constantly like in each other's faces for 48 hours straight every week, not to mention the other times that we're together, like, you know, during work days and stuff, but just devoting that time to each other, it's like, you know, neither of us can ever say, you don't pay attention to me, when we have 2 days per week that we're like totally focused on each other. So
yeah, for myself, it's just always making the other person a priority and thinking about them, thinking about sweet things, finding out what they specifically like, and then just doing it and making a habit of it. It's either once a week or once every couple weeks, just doing something special here and there.
And then as for keeping God in the center of our marriage, maybe that's a little bit easier for us because Matt is a minister and we go to the same church. We go to church together every Sunday. But we also make sure to talk a lot about what God is putting in our hearts, what God's been speaking to us personally. We like to talk about, we try to like every week kind of like catch up on what we feel like God's been showing us and stuff like that. And we've never let God become like an awkward conversation for us. It's always something we've kind of kept completely open between the two of us. And we pray together a lot. You know, whenever he's sick, he'll come and ask, hey, can you pray for me? Or when I have like a bad day or I'm feeling panicked about something, I'll ask him to pray for me. And it just kind of keeps the lines between like me and him and us and God open so that we're all like a unit. I don't know, it sounds weird, but.
Yeah. And to go back to the previous point about doing, keeping romance, your question also has to be, why are you doing what you're doing for your spouse? It can't be for self-interest. I'm not going to be sweet to Lynette in order to get something from her. I'm doing it just because I want to bless her, and I'm not trying to somewhat manipulate her. I'm doing what I'm doing because I love her.
Yeah, and I think that that is really key too, is that when you get married, you have to decide that you're going to do good and right by your spouse, even if they're not always doing right by you. There's been times in our marriage, there's always going to be a little bit of give and take where he's going through something, so I'm giving a little bit more. I'm going through something, so he's giving a little bit more. If we're constantly tallying things up in our head, like, well, I do this and I do that, and you're not doing any of this, like, that's just going to build so much resentment and so much tension between us that it can't be like that. I don't care if for 10 days straight or 10 months straight, I'm cleaning up his crap and he's just like producing more and more crap, like figuratively. That's fine. Like, that's what I signed up for when I got married, and I'm not gonna let myself get resentful about that because I know that one day I'm gonna crap for 10 months straight and he's gonna have to clean up after me, figuratively speaking, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so keeping that in mind and not going into marriage with like a tit for tat mindset. Lightning situation. There we go. Nice and bright. How did you guys meet / how long have you been together? I think we already kind of mentioned that. So was fitness one of the things that brought you together? Funny story. When we first met, I had like started kind of sort of thinking about losing weight, but I was like not really that committed to it. But he ran like 4 miles 3 times a week, and he hit the gym all the other days of the week. So he was like pretty fit and athletic. And I just wanted an excuse to hang out with him. So like one day I kind of like, I think I like mentioned us hanging out or something. He's like, oh, well, I'm going for a run tonight after work, you know, and I never miss my runs. And I was like, oh, I'll run with you. Like, I can run. I could not run. Like literally every 30 seconds was stopping to like almost throw up.
I was jogging in place.
And he was jogging in place. And I was like, I swear I can normally run more than this. Terrible. And now it's funny because I actually run like 4 miles all the time, and he like can't run at all because he like beefed up too much and stops doing cardio.
I want to lose those gains.
4 million people have asked, when do we plan on having kids? So when we first got married, I was like, we're gonna have kids in a year. And then we got married and I was like, no. And I went through a weird phase where like the thought of having a child like terrified me. Like the thought of being pregnant sounded awful. Like, oh my God, a gremlin living inside my body and making me fat. Never. And then sometime probably in like the last year, I've been bitten with like the mommy bug so hard. And I thought for a while that maybe we would like try sometime soon, but I feel a little bit more like we're supposed to wait a little bit. So if we had a kid now, like we would like swing it. Maybe pull off child rearing, but I don't know, maybe in like another year or so.
She's still gonna be hot pregnant.
Thank you, I'm gonna have a big old Buddha belly. When you and Matt have a decision to make and you have opposite opinions, how do you reach a compromise or figure out whose choice to go with?
For coming to disagreements, what's great about Lynette and I is there's a lot of things that we covered during the dating process, so we had kind of an understanding. Doesn't mean that our views can evolve, but covering your bases before you get married really helps out. So we don't have any big disagreements. And coming from a Christian background, if we do have a disagreement, we both pray about it. And God will reveal unto us who's wrong, or who, not necessarily wrong, but who's looking at it from the wrong perspective. And we know if we follow God's will that everything's gonna work out.
Yeah, I would say going into the relationship, we had the big discussions about having kids. We had big discussions about our views on money and what to do in certain situations, and the things that couples argue about, like kids and money. We kind of settled our opinions on that in the beginning, so Somebody asked, does your insecurity during weight gain or loss cycles ever affect intimacy? And I wanted to answer that. It's kind of like a TMI type question, but do you mind if I answer that?
No.
It's definitely affected intimacy, not as much anymore as it did like when we were first married, which I think is just kind of normal. Like if you're not feeling great about yourself, it's hard to feel comfortable being in bed with somebody essentially. Matt has always been really, really great at just like comforting me and being very, very sweet and being patient when I am going through these times. And I've also realized too, like he's a dude, like he doesn't care. like ladies, if you're watching this, if your husband loves you, he does not care. Maybe you should say it. It'll have like more gusto coming from you because you're a dude.
He doesn't care. What I'm looking for is, we've talked about this before, and she's continually getting better and better. It's just having confidence. It's having confidence that, number one, that your husband loves you, number two, that you're beautiful. Because with confidence, that's when sexiness is increased. She's already sexy, but when she owns it, it goes to like a whole nother level.
Yeah, and that's what he's always said to me, and not to like be like, hey, be more confident, like you're not hot unless you're confident, but just to tell me like, hey, like I know you see a bunch of flaws right now, but I'm telling you, if you just act confident, I will see them even less than I already don't see them. Honestly, who does Kitten like more? I think we all know the answer to that one. So when I asked, do you guys go to the gym together often? And when you do go to the gym together, do you work out together or separately? We really only go to the gym together on our days off together. Sometimes we end up there at the same time, like he's coming from work and I come during the week after, like in the middle, like if I have to take a break with work. We rarely work out together, only because we lift differently. He's on a workout plan from his coach, and I'm on kind of like a workout plan that I kind of have developed for myself, and the way that I lift is very, very specific to me. I know it works, I know it doesn't work, so I go in with a plan. It's very, very customized to me, and so it's just like he could go through it with me, but it's not going to be his best lift, just like I could go through one of his workouts with him and it's just not going to be my best lift.
And she has stronger legs than me.
Yeah, baby! How did your relationship change after you got married, or did it not change? It changed for the better, I would say. I feel like, I mean, this is a given, but I feel like I know him so much more than before we got married, and I feel like we have way more fun together. I feel like before we got married, we had fun, and we like, you know, things might have been a little bit more carefree. Because we weren't like married and we didn't have like marriage problems, but I feel like now we have learned how to really have fun together and how to really just like laugh and have a good time, and we've got so many inside jokes that we just play on all day long, and we know each other very well, so we know exactly how to push the right buttons and how to, you know, I know how to make him smile. I know how to, you know, after a rough day, I know what to do to make him happy, and he knows what to do for me, so I'm happier than ever, like 3.5 years into marriage, way happier than I ever was dating, and I was really happy dating. I was happy enough to marry you.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is being selfish previously to being less selfish and more focused on her. In the beginning of the marriage, you know, it was, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. It was kind of a tit for tat, like she mentioned, but the more that it evolved, the more that we loved each other. That love is an action towards her, it's not an action towards me. So the more that I did that, the more that we fell in love. And when you're in love, you know, I'm the one trying to serve her and bless her, and she feels more love, so in reciprocal, she wants to love and bless me, so it's a cycle that actually gets better and better the longer we're together.
What is your favorite part about being married?
Well,
every time.
And for myself, I'm my best friend every single day. Somebody who gets me, somebody that I trust, somebody that always has my back, and just spend life with and excited about our future.
Yeah, it sounds so cheesy, like, because there's one answer that comes to my mind when I read this, and I'm trying to think of a different one because I'm like, no, Lynette, that's too cheesy, but Matt is literally my best friend ever. And I never ever want to leave him. Like, that's part of why on like Thursdays and Fridays I never go hang out with any other friends, because I could not bear to leave my house knowing that Matt is at home and I'm not with him. You know, we just have so much fun together. We get along so well. I can't be that upset when I'm with him because he just makes everything better, in my opinion. And I feel like marriage has just amplified our love so much, and that sounded so corny. I just love being with my best friend every single day, all the time, so. Does social media affect your marriage, positively or negatively? I would say that when I first started kind of growing my social media, it affected it negatively because he felt like I was always on my phone, and I was always on my phone, and that's the one thing that does kind of suck, and I probably will make a video in the future about how to build your social media, but I was on Instagram and Facebook like non-stop when I was first kind of growing my social media like 2 years ago, a year ago. I've since then put a lot of boundaries on myself where like I've turned off all my notifications so that I forget to go on Instagram. I keep my phone out of the room when I'm with him. But when I first started growing my social media accounts, yeah, I was on it way too much. I like lived and died by all the posts that I made, which was just too much. And he felt neglected, and I totally get now why. Like back then I was really defensive about it.
Very defensive.
Very.
I told her one time, I remember this specifically, I was like, babe, can I have an hour a day that you put your phone away? An hour. And she flipped out saying there is no way because of this, and this. So yeah, it's changed a lot.
Which is hysterical because I will put my phone away for hours at a time now. Like today we went on a walk for 2 or 3 hours and I didn't even bring my phone with me. And a lot of times when we leave the house, I won't bring my phone with me. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm disconnecting from social media, especially like time with your family is so sacred. And you never know how much time that you have left with someone. I don't want to look back in my 20s and just remember so much of being in my phone. And when I think back to like 2 years ago and I try to remember my life then, I do remember a lot of just my face being in my phone, and I don't want that to be the case, especially now as my social media accounts have grown. It's so easy to be on there all day long. Okay, the camera died, so I literally don't even know where we left off. And the lighting in here is really bad. I'm sorry. It was like daytime when we started, and now it's nighttime. But, so I would say that nowadays it doesn't negatively affect our marriage very much, would you say?
No, not with you turning it off.
Yeah, not with me turning it off. Now that I've like set boundaries and I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna, you know, be on this all day long, doing this all day long. It definitely, I don't think is really a problem anymore. Do people ever have anything negative to say about your age difference? Yes! Yes! Matt is 8 years older than me. Yes, my husband is 8 years older than me. And when we first started dating, I was 18 or 19?
She was 10. I
was 10. You're gross. I was 18 or 19, and my dad was not thrilled about it. He knew Matt, and he knew Matt was a good guy, but I don't think he was ready to let me go because I think he knew that like me dating someone that much older than me who was like a serious person and like looking for a wife, I think he knew he was gonna lose me sooner rather than later, and that made him really sad. But once he got to know Matt and he realized that Matt was not just trying to like come out for me to get me or like sleep with me or whatever, he didn't have a problem with it. When I got married, I think the only thing that he said when I was getting married is that he was afraid I was gonna lose some of my youth by getting married so young, but I don't think it was necessarily because Matt was older, but it was just because I got married when I was 21 years old. Which, looking back, I actually get what he was saying, in that I do feel like I lost a little bit of my youth, which I explained in another video, the last Q&A that I did, but it was a sacrifice that I would make again and again because this marriage was the best thing I ever did. So, did anybody ever say anything to you about the age difference? People didn't really know for a long time that we were dating, like we weren't extremely public about it.
Because I look so young.
He has such a baby face. Alright, this question is for Matt. If you saw Lynette out in public and you didn't know her, what would your pickup line be for her?
My pickup line?
How would you get me?
First and foremost, pickup lines just don't work.
And he knows because I get about 100 of them in my DMs every day and they never work.
Yeah, so she's married.
I am married for all the dudes who still hit me up on a daily basis.
So previously, well, what I did is I became a friend first because that is the best way to find somebody. So we became friends, became more serious. I know you're looking for a pickup line, but honestly, ladies, have you ever been swooned by a pickup line? If you have, I don't know what to say about you.
Yeah, such a gentle one. Can't even be nasty for the sake of the video. Alright, and the last thing that you guys have asked for, I had like 3 or 4 people ask for this, was to see some of our wedding photos. So a ton of you guys have asked to see some of our wedding photos, and if you guys are regular viewers of my vlog, you probably have seen this wall behind me before that has a bunch of photos on it. Those are all wedding photos of ours, so I'm going to show you guys a couple of them. Here's one of us on our wedding day. Well, these are all of us on our wedding day. But that was our first, what do they call that? The first view?
Yeah, first view.
I don't know. Where you really go, where Matt saw me for the first time.
Well, we did it differently. Instead of usually the first time that a bride and groom are supposed to see each other until she's actually walking down the aisle, we just wanted to capture that moment ourselves. So we
wanted a private moment out in the courtyard of our church. So that was the first time he saw me, and he was actually crying in that photo. Here is at our reception. They did the thing where they hit the glasses with a fork and you just have to kiss in the middle of the room. That was us. Here's another photo of us after I don't know where this was, but this was again for our first view. There's a word for it. It's not first view, it's something else. But he was talking to me like when we were first seeing each other right before our wedding was to start, and he was saying a bunch of really romantic stuff, and I have no idea what he said at all. I totally blanked. I was so nervous that day, and he was like crying. It was so cute though.
It's the same thing when I proposed for her. I said,
oh yeah, you said a bunch of sweet stuff, and I don't remember a lick of it. So there's another photo of us, and there's the photo of us leaving the church after our wedding. And this is in our dining room. I feel like this has been in the background of my vlogs. It's normally like right over there. But there's us. Cutie pies on our wedding day. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap up this vlog. I probably will be like 25 minutes long. I'm just gonna apologize right now. But thank you for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Bye! Do you wanna say bye? Bye!